You guys, I think I solved this. And it has to do with wormholes and something called an omniphoton. Okay, so the paradox basically is that information, once it goes in the black hole, is lost. The light gets sucked in and becomes an infalling particle, and then the other part stays on the event horizon. But they don't know about the thirds. And it all starts with this little thing from the movie Inception. You can call it a pseudosphere, or you can call it a tractix. Okay, so here's a photon. I believe the photon also has an antiphoton that is attached to it. They both hold the same information in our 3D reality, and they create a third thing, a tractix, or a pseudosphere. So the photon is really three things: a photon, an antiphoton, and an omniphoton, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, a lonely torus is a closed-ish system. This is like you on your lonesome, not interacting with anyone at home in bed. When you interact with a person, it becomes an open system automatically because in the properties of a tractix, it becomes like a pinch point or a wormhole. It's a channel that never closes. It is a funnel for energy and information flows but never collapses back into itself. Also, a double torus, a symbolism of the infinity, as well as the wise owl, but it creates a third thing, emergent property, an omniphoton. This is literally mimicked almost everywhere in nature, which we will find out eventually. Even in black holes, where it really isn't just a black hole, it's a black hole and a white hole and something in the middle, which is probably like the fifth dimension where our higher selves live. Oh, and this is why it kind of reminds me of an owl from this point of view of a double torus. This also creates this when information is flowing, when any two things interact. In this case, it's just how the photon system works in threes. But this also is displayed in a person interacting with a person, and when you have a baby or an idea, these ideas come from a higher place. Omniphoton land. And this is called a Dini surface, which has to do with solitons. This is basically a twisted pseudosphere, or tractix. It is a moving soliton or active flow. This is basically showcasing how plasma, or these toruses, store information and consciousness and become an open system, and there's just an overflowing exchange. So, black holes. I'm simplifying this right now. This becomes a whole system where, yes, light stays on the event horizon and projects back out, creating the visible reality. Formation, and the in part of formation is not lost. It's just not light. It's anti-light. It's antiphoton. And both of them are holographic and hold the omniphoton, or the information, or the third thing, as a triangle in each of their toruses. They'll still have a triangle of this tractix of information. Nothing is lost. Light is formation. Anti-light is in. They work together as information in this 3D reality. Tractix literally means to pull. It is the geometry of pulling information through space-time to our brains. Think about it. Duality always hides a third force. There's literally threes everywhere, like electron, proton, neutron. DNA has to do with triple strands, a holy trinity, mother, father, and son, or mother, father, daughter, and plasma double layers. So I tried to find a photo. Basically, all you have to know is positive and negative charges in plasma double layers give rise to a third emergent behavior, to radiation, as you can see here. So always two things creating a third. And this is kind of obvious, but 2 points make a line, 3 points make a triangle, the first structure, which is also half of the double tractix, which is in the photon and antiphoton. This is what holds and encloses the information. It is even in William S. Burroughs and Brian Geison's book, The Third Mind. It all started with cut-up poetry, which David Bowie literally has to do with, called the cut-up method. And you take these texts basically from a book or wherever you want, you slice them apart, you cut out all the words, and then you recombine them without thinking. And out of this practice, what they discovered was something weird, that this third thing emerges, that it made sense. And I've done this with my own poetry. It's freaking weird. It's kind of like when you put two minds together, in their case, two texts together, a third voice emerges. Any intersection of two systems, of two toruses, creates a third emergent thing. I call it emergence. I have a study, Holonic Metadynamics, which is all about this. I go slightly into it in my new book, A New Force. The link is in my bio. It's out September 9th. And these create meanings that are not predictable, they say in this book, this third thing. It is like a gestalt, which basically means it is greater than the sum of its parts. And this is when I go back to this lovely drawing. Basically, what Plato, I think, called the realm of perfect forms or ideas. This omniphoton land is that. I call it the fifth dimension. You can call it whatever the heck you want, heaven. And it co-creates with us, has access to us at all times. And we can always reach it by going inside, which I'll explain in a second. That's why I said we're in a closed-ish system when we're alone. And really amazing things can happen when you put two things together. Dualities are incomplete and singular things are incomplete. There's nothing that's not in a system. Humans are not meant to survive alone. And neither are little photons, my baby little photons. Okay, so last but not least, sorry, I'm so sleepy. Why are we in a closed-ish system, which is actually kind of open-ish? When we go inside, when we invert into meditation, into maybe psychedelic states, like when your consciousness is altered, not by psychedelics, I'm talking about by breathing and stuff, because I've actually never tried them. You can reach this space internally, and you actually open your own torus into more of a hexagon shape. And you're like, yeah, okay, what does that mean? How do you even do that? In topology, a hexagon literally can be made into a torus. So think of yourself as an open system when you're inverted and meditating. And then, when you're traversing the world alone, or when you're in your bed alone right after meditation, you close back up and you feedback it in your system and you come up with these revelations that are percolating in your little solar plexus. Anyway, I don't know how we got here, but we are here. So I'm curious what you think. Obviously, these are all theories. I do think I'm onto something. I don't think I'm correctly right. I'm definitely tired. I don't think I'm definitely accurate with everything I'm saying, but I feel like I can maybe crack some of your brains and curiosities open, especially if you're studying this stuff. And I'm, just very curious, what you think about this. Check the link in my bio for cool stuff. I'm going to sleep. This was my Saturday night.